6. All right. Welcome back to Shots with Devin. We're here with our lovely and talented co-host, Katie Weaver. She's are you a freshman, Katie? A sophomore?
I'll be a sophomore in the fall.
Be a sophomore in the fall at Sussex County Community College, studying graphic design. Katie is an accomplished photographer herself. You said that you studied photography in high school, Katie?
Yeah.
How long?
I took one class that was devoted especially to it, but over 4 years. We learned about it every year for a while. Very nice, very nice. I really enjoy working with and talking to young people who have an interest in photography. It's very inspiring to me personally. I like to look at the photographs that you make, and someone who's been studying photography for 4 years plus in school means that you really do have an interest in it. Yeah. So I met you when we were doing a modeling shoot with one of your friends, yeah. Right? And we had a good time because I couldn't remember your name, so if you remember, I was calling you Heidi the whole time. So that was kind of fun, right? You're probably still mad at me. Well, Katie was kind enough to send in some of her photos that she's taken. So, Katie, what do you say we do some shots together? Sounds good.
Let's look at your pics. Now, the first one that we're looking here, hold on, I want to look at that one first. Tell me about that image.
That was a bouquet of flowers that I got for something, I don't even remember anymore. And I was playing around with the magnifying glass that was in a setting on my camera. Not many cameras seem to have that one. And I just wanted to take a really close picture and as abstract as I could get it. And I like the white balanced with the yellow and green. It drew my eye in, and I wanted to capture it.
Yeah, I have to say, when you sent me that image, it really got my attention.
I have one that's a little closer even. I think this one shows a little bit more what you're looking at, but the other one seems to.
Yeah, it's great because it just draws your eye into nothingness, the way that it disappears with the focus there. Do you know what that magnifying glass on the camera, what that setting is for? Do you know what the actual term for that setting is?
No.
That would be macro.
It's not macro though. Macro is another setting on the same camera.
Oh, really?
It's a different one.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So this is probably super macro.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Are you familiar with the expression depth of field?
Yeah.
You know what that means?
Yeah. To describe it, it's when you're looking at something and what you're looking at goes off into the distance, or vice versa.
Yeah, it really has to do with how deep the focal plane is, right? So if you have a very shallow depth of field, then your focus will only be on one specific object. If you have a deep depth of field, your foreground will be in as much focus as the background. Mm-hmm. So this is a great example of shallow depth of field. Mm-hmm. And that's what macro photography is. Yeah. Is being able to get the lens of the camera very close to your subject and have a very, very, very shallow depth of field. And that's how you get that incredibly blurry background. Mm-hmm. And so if you look at your image that you made, you can see how the focus very clearly dissipates the further away from the lens you get, right? Now, the trouble, not the trouble, but the concern that you have to be aware of with extreme close-ups and macro photography is that you do have to make sure that your focus, that the part that you want in focus is in focus. Mm-hmm. Because the depth of field is so shallow. In this case here, your camera wasn't really sure what to focus on in these contours of the end of the flower. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a hair out of focus there. I don't know if you can notice. It could just be the resolution of the image that you sent me, or it could be a focusing problem. I can't really tell.
It's probably the focusing of the high resolution.
Okay. So that's one thing that you want to really pay attention to when you're looking through the viewfinder and you're doing the macro photography, mm-hmm. is make sure that the part that you want to focus on is super, super sharp. Mm-hmm. Because something in this picture is super sharp, but it might not be exactly what it was that you wanted. Yeah. In this case, you want this foreground part here of the end of the flower to be crystal razor sharp. And with the newer cameras, with the great resolution they have, and many of them are coming with terrific lenses, we can get a tack sharp photo. So that's my only critique to that, because this picture jumps out at me. I absolutely love it. It's a great shot. Now our next one is another abstract image, I would say. Tell me about this one.
This is just my keys on my keyring, and I was just playing around with the different angles and lights that I had going. And this was the one I liked best because it had a main focus, but you could also see what else was going on.
Yeah, I like this one too. This is practically a perfect photograph. What inspired you to take it?
Just looking at my keys.
Really?
Yeah, the light bouncing off of them.
How did you light it?
It was just, I think, the lighting from an outside window in a computer screen.
Oh, yeah?
This was when I was back in high school.
It's great. It's great. So we would call that a natural light photo, right? You don't have any strobe set up or anything. And you had your exposure perfect as far as I can tell. How do you think that would look in a black and white image?
It looks pretty cool. I didn't have time to switch it.
But you like it that way?
Yeah.
I could see it really being excellent as a black and white. That's one of the fun things about digital photography, is being able to play around with the different processes rather easily. Leads us into the question that you had. What was the question you wanted to discuss today?
How the style of photography has changed throughout the years, other than the cameras that have been developed.
Yeah. I was giving that some thought. You want to know what I've observed in the style or the abilities of photographers, right? The digital revolution is a very controversial subject among many professional photographers. And in my opinion, it has created many more good photographers. I know for myself, when I started shooting digital, I did resist it at first. I didn't want to go that way. I liked the look of it and feel of film. However, when I did switch over to digital, I can't tell you how much my photography skills improved, because I was able to see right away the mistakes that I was making immediately, and then I could fix those mistakes. And so my learning curve was accelerated greatly by shooting digital. And I think that we're seeing that happen in general, where people are becoming better photographers because they can take a picture, look on the back of their camera and say, oh, I overexposed that terribly.
Yeah.
And then they learn how to fix it. So we're seeing better pictures coming up. Do you agree with that?
Definitely.
And I'm also seeing a new level of creativity coming out of photography, where people are playing around, playing with light, playing with composition, going back home and playing in Photoshop or their image.
It's easy to just look at something and be like, oh no, that was a play.
Exactly. So in my opinion, photography has improved because of the digital revolution. I feel that the people who are interested in photography are taking better pictures. There still is room for film. There still is a need for it. Certain aspects, certain styles of photography definitely call out for film. But I would have to say that 99% of my work is digital at this point, especially professionally as a portrait photographer. I need to know that my lighting is right in every case.
When I was taking my photography classes, we still did some film work with the older style cameras, and there's a big difference.
Yeah. We're going to pick this conversation up in a couple minutes. We're just going to take a quick break, and then I want to finish this conversation about how photography's changed. So hang tight, Katie.
Sounds good.